this? How could we survive?
It's a dream, it's a nightmare. All of this, all of us alive. Look around, devastation
all over, nobody. It's a wonder God saved us. Miracles once again. Do not ask, do not question. All we've done more than pays the price. All my life was illusion. Nothing then readied me for this but love. Our love.
Hi, it's Paul Sakis. This is Good News Planet, and we just saw a wonderful video. And I'm here with the family, Jeannie Parnes Wexler, right? And it's her family story that we're going to hear about today. Tell us what we just saw.
What you saw, I would say, the biggest miracle of miracles, that a family of 7, which I was the youngest of, escaped the Nazis the day before they came in, not knowing that they're doing it to save their lives, but to look for my oldest sister. And we did find her, and when we found her was the first bombing, and I can tell you what I saw. I was almost 4. Dead bodies all over, children without heads, bodies flying in the air, arms and legs flying in the air, my mother covering our eyes because we were so little not to see it. And we were the only ones with our horses, with the buggy, that nobody was hurt. And till this day, when I think about it, I don't know if fathom is the right word for it, but it just doesn't, I can't fathom it. How did that happen? How did our carriage stay the way it was with all this devastation around us? And we were 3.5 months on the horse and buggy with so many miracles that I can't even begin to tell you, but I will tell you this, that at more than one point, we would experience bombing, and every older child would grab, because there were 3 little ones and 4 older ones, starting with 11, 13, 15, 17. So they were young themselves, but each one grabbed a child and ran for cover. And this one particular time, my oldest brother held me, and he had a flat foot, and I became aware that he's limping. And we ran into a barn, and he laid me next to a horse, and I was scared, and he put me on his chest. And very often I still feel that I'm there with him. And when in the morning when the bombing stopped, everybody came out from different areas with all these dead people around. And bodies in half, I already said that. It was just horrible. But each and every one came out with the same child that they walked away with. And we all gathered by my parents, and we all survived. And this happened so many times that it is so hard for me. I'm getting old. I don't know how long I'm going to be around to tell this story. But I can't stop thinking, how did this all happen? Because if it had to do with God, then everybody has their own opinions, what they think of it. But to me, it's as if somebody up there was watching over us. Every time that we were almost gone, a miracle happened and we all survived. And
You
that's
love
the
miracles?
truth.
That's a
And I'm
beautiful
going to
thing.
tell you one other
Please.
story. We were on a bridge. I believe it was called the Dnieper, I'm not sure. And hundreds, I don't know, it was so little I don't know if it was hundreds of thousands of carriages and the Russian soldiers going back to Russia and people walking and people that we met on the road because we traveled a long time near the same people, you get to know them. And it took a very long time, and I don't know how it happened, but by the time we got off the bridge, the planes came, they bombed it, broke in half this way, and they all fell in, and we just got off. How did that happen? I'm so grateful for you guys helping me get my mother's story out. This is what she raised us with, especially the three little ones, telling us over and over and over again. So most of these stories I remembering my mother telling it to us. And her dream was that it should go on, that our generations, children, grandchildren, and on, should know about our story. And just before she died, she wrote many of these stories down. This woman went maybe 4 years to school, and she wrote it in rhyme, and we have it. And it is just so beautiful for us to sit around sometimes and to just read it and hear her voice saying it. But I must say that if it wasn't the love of my family, the warmth and the nurturing from my family, that the little ones could never survive this. There were times where we had nothing to eat, and we had typhoid, and my mother gave birth at the time. And we were laying on a bed that was made out of straw. And my sister Tina, who's 2 years older than me, I used to suck my thumb and I would cry into her, I'm so hungry, I'm so hungry. She would say, Ginela, don't say it. Ginela was my name that everybody loved to call me. And shh, don't say that you're hungry, because there was nothing to give us to eat. And but just to know that I'm near somebody that loves me, that holds me, all my older siblings and this young man, Azrael, who saved us during the 3.5 months, always there to give us the warmth and to give us the feeling that it's okay, we're together, and together we're home no matter where we are. And I'm just so grateful and so thankful to have survived and to be able to do for my mother what she so wanted, is that the story be known.
Well, this is, thank you so much for sharing. I mean, and by wheel and by wing, it has a name now, a show.
That's right.
That Patty Mactus has produced, and I was fortunate enough to see a reading of at the museum, the Jewish Museum?
Museum of Jewish Heritage.
Museum of Jewish Heritage down in the Battery Park area. And this is her daughter, right? And you're in the show, and she does
Yes.
a beautiful job, and we're going to hear her sing in a little while. And so, you know, this is our Hanukkah Shalom Peace special, actually, and because it's, you know, we don't want this, what we just heard, ever to occur again.
Absolutely.
And that's the mission of us all here. So I heard there was lots of things, Patty, that you were on a plane or something, I don't know, all
It
kinds
was
of
an amazing
people.
story. The
So let's
story
hear
behind
it.
the story is almost as interesting as the story itself. But I was coming back from Alyssa's graduation from NYU in musical theater, and a lovely woman with beautiful blue eyes sat down next to me, and so I was looking at some music and started talking to me, and after some conversation she said, maybe you know my son, he lives near where you live. Turns out her son was my anesthesiologist when I had back surgery a couple of months earlier. Then she said, well, maybe you know my great-nephew. Turns out her great-nephew was going to be the roommate of my son Daniel's at the University of Maryland the next year. And that she was from Lakewood, New Jersey, which is where my parents met. So we already felt like this was something not your normal meeting, let's put it that way.
Right.
And when I heard her accent, I said, where are you from? And she said, you want to hear my story? I'll tell you my story.
What did you say, Jeannie? Will you say it? You want to hear my story?
Would you like to hear my story? I'll tell you my story.
There you go.
And you said?
And I said, oh, of course. And for the rest of the plane ride, Jeannie told me all of these incredible stories of their survival. And being a director of theater and also starting our own theater group, I said something incredible needs to be done with this artistically. And I said, I don't know if it's a play, it's a movie, something has to be done. And she said to me, and your daughter can play my mother.
That's right.
And initially, when we first did it, Alyssa was too young to play her mother. She
Yeah.
played the older sister, but then
Yes,
the last two times that we've done the show, Alyssa has played Esther, and I believe has channeled some of her love and energy and spirit.
Thank you.
So the amazing thing is I directed young people, told them about this story, and we decided that they wanted to write a musical about this. I said, do you think you could? And they said yes, and we got a professional playwright, Corey Jan Albert, to direct them, and in 8 months they came up with a musical. 10 young people wrote a musical about this. We did a staged reading of it. People could not wait to get to their feet, had focus groups. We made some changes to the show. We had an anonymous backer who gave us money to do a full stage production, but in a black box theater in Sandy Springs, Georgia, which is where we come from. And again, people could not wait to get to their feet. People said it had to go further. And from there, with the help of Alyssa and my dear college roommate Jane Atkinson, who directed, we put on a stage reading at the Jewish Heritage Museum with updated script and score, still with some great future ways to go, but again, people could not wait to get to their feet. And our goal now is to take it, just what Jeannie said, so that her mother's story and her story can be seen by as many people around the country, around the world, as possible.
Yay! Okay, and that's why we're here today, because we want to help foster that awareness of what a wonderfully scripted, beautiful singing, wonderful performances. And well, why don't you tell me, how does somebody get involved? How does someone reach out to you? We're gonna put some text about the show on this holiday Hanukkah special, which was another time of overcoming obstacles, let's say. And how does somebody reach out to you?
Well, we have an actual website for the play itself by willandbywing.com, where all the information is there. And you can click on going forward, how to support. You can contact me directly, Patty Mactus, but I'm at act3productions.org. And basically, we're looking to get as many people who want to continue this journey with us that can support it to come on board. Whether it's your regional theater that might be interested in producing the play, whether you are an investor who would like to have something to do with taking this to its next step and possibly seeing it really do something very, very special, and knowing at the same time that you're keeping these stories alive for future generations. Because Jeannie was the youngest. We got her here hopefully for a long, long time, but we want to make sure she sees it go its next place.
I hope I'm here to see it.
Yeah, you
But
will
I'm
be.
so happy that my brother and sister and brother-in-law, Johnny, Azriel, and Sally, made it to the original first stage performance.